To have Coach Brad Bohannon. Was in his third year, didn't get to finish the year, was having a great year, 16-1, and then the season got stopped. It had to be devastating to you, Coach, and your players. Good morning, Coach. How are you this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all doing?
We're good. Go ahead, Dap.
I recruited for a long time, and I've always thought that baseball guys had the most difficult time because you were trying to decide if the guy that you wanted was going to be drafted, and if you got him, were you going to lose that scholarship once the draft came? I think it's. I want you to clear it up for me and make it easier than I think it is. Is that not difficult to go against people that major league people, that scouts that are looking at kids, and then you're trying to decide if you all try to get the kid?
Coach, you're dead on. It's a real challenge, to put it in football and basketball terms. You got to be careful how many 5-stars you get. Maybe getting a bunch of 4-stars is the way to go. And, the other piece of it is we're recruiting a lot of these kids now as sophomores and juniors in high school. So not only are we trying to figure out when we're watching them at 16 years old, hey, can this kid get a hit in Baton Rouge 4 years from now?
Yeah.
You're also trying to figure out what might he fit in Major League Baseball draft a year and a half or 2 years from now. So it's a lot of guessing and a lot of projection, and it's a really inexact science. And, I think it's a puzzle with a lot of moving pieces, and it's very difficult, but, it's difficult for everybody.
Yeah, it is a lot of guessing, and guessing is hard. To me, it's just been, I've thought about it a great deal. You'll laugh at this. I had to coach the freshman baseball team one year at Alabama when I was there. Happy Campbell was the baseball coach, and but it's sort of interesting just to try to see how y'all decide on who you might want to take. Even 10th, 11th graders, are they going to be that good as a senior to go into the draft?
Coach, you might want Dad. There's a story out there floating around that when he coached that team, in the same day they threw 2 no-hitters.
We had back-to-back no-hitters.
Back-to-back no-hitters.
Whoa!
Yeah. You ever seen that?
I have not seen that. Well, you might need to come out and work with some of our pitchers.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if it's recorded. You can make your mouth say anything, Coach. That's what he told me.
Well, yeah. My biggest problem is that you're not going to like it. I'm a Cleveland Indians fan. The Cleveland Indians can't beat anybody. Since 1954, we won 100-something games. Outside of that, we're not very good. Go ahead.
Coach, talk about the roster, the NCAA. There's different opinions about whether they did the right thing or not. For you as a coach, have dug into these guys, and for the seniors not to be able to finish it up the right way. I know it was probably the right decision for you, but then keeping the freshmen, the sophomores, juniors, you guys deal with roster issues enough anyway. Just talk about how you've been able or are you going to handle this entire situation that you've been left.
Well, I think you said it right. I do think the NCAA did the right thing of giving the seniors an extra year, but that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be some challenges. And now, we're basically just trying to fit 5 groups of kids into a team setting. And, we're one of the few sports that has a lot more constraints than the others. And that we have a hard roster limit come opening day. We have a hard number of kids that could be on scholarship. And, and obviously don't even have enough scholarships as it is. So, it's going to create some problems, but I do think it was the right thing to do. And, this pandemic, it's a once-in-a-lifetime, first-time thing that we're all dealing with, and nothing's going to be perfect. And there's going to be some tough conversations and all that. But we were kind of fortunate. We had a really young team this year. Our freshman and sophomore groups were really talented and were really big. So, right now we've only got 3 seniors who are coming back. Some of the kids decided just to move on with life, and we didn't have a big junior class, so it wasn't really impacted by a short major league draft. So we're going to be okay from a scholarship and roster limit. But some of my colleagues in the league are sweating bullets right now.
Yeah, those are difficult conversations to have with the family, with the kid. You guys with 11.7 scholarships, you don't have the Hope Scholarship. it's difficult. I think, I don't know all the other situations in the SEC, and you're not going to say it, but I'll say that Alabama in this league, it's a great school, great facilities, but when you got scholarships, it's an 11.7 and you don't have the other avenues to help. It makes it difficult to put all the pieces to the puzzle together and compete with the Vanderbilts and those guys, doesn't it, Coach?
It does. Well, I hate talking about it. I said in my press conference that I always wanted to focus on what we do have, and we do have a tremendous product to sell to young, potential baseball players. But, the fact of the matter is, we have less scholarships than the teams we're competing against. I mean, could you imagine if Coach Saban only had 60 or 65 scholarships and Gus Malzahn had 85? Or,
right.
It's amazing in today's time that there's such a disparity. But, it is what it is. I can't change it. That's having a state lottery or institutional financial aid is so above my pay grade, and all I can focus on is what I can control, and that is, I get to coach at a tremendous university in the best conference in all of amateur athletics, and you can be really good at Alabama, and we can compete for championships. I think the biggest thing is it's going to be harder for us to be good every single year. There's going to be some ups and downs, and we probably aren't going to be able to sustain injuries, as well as maybe some other programs. But we can get really, really good baseball players here and put together really good teams.
Sure.
Oh, I don't know. I think the weather, certainly you've got great players that in the league, and the league is so good. Kentucky is the furthest northern team, I guess. And the weather gives you an opportunity to get maybe some good players up north. Does the weather have any factor as far as your recruiting is concerned?
Yeah, that part's an advantage for us. And You're right, Coach. The kids up north want to come south to play. And you look at our freshman class. Connor Prelip was starting on Friday night as a freshman on the mound for us. He's from Wisconsin, and Antoine Jean and Owen Diodati from Canada. So, I would love for the whole team to be from Birmingham, Alabama. But I do think the University of Alabama is a national brand, and we can get kids from all over the country. So we'll always have a core of kids from Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, but we'll also always fill in from around the country and maybe even north of the border.
Coach, you said it, I think one of the first questions Dad asked, and it seems like, because I follow baseball, I have a son that plays a lot, and these guys are committing now earlier and earlier and earlier. I mean, I see 2024s, 2023s, and I guess you have to project if other people are offering, it almost scares you not to at least put an offer out there. And these guys are taking them now. How is it too early? Should the NCAA step in and say, hey, you really shouldn't be able to offer a guy until he's a junior to keep everything even there? Because it seems like these guys are committing earlier and earlier, and you guys it's just a guess right now to what this guy's going to develop to be.
It is, and the NCAA is trying to do some things to slow down our sport, just early recruiting in general. And I think any coach of any sport would tell you that the closer that you get to a kid coming to your school, the more accurate you're going to be of knowing what they potentially may be. And that may be one positive that comes out of this pandemic. We're not allowed to recruit right now. We can't leave campus, and there aren't a lot of kids playing amateur baseball right now. So. I've never been super aggressive with the early stuff, and I will say there's a lot of kids that can play at a place like Alabama that do really start to stand out at 15 and 16, and we've all got the stories of the late bloomer guy. So Antoine Jean, who I just mentioned earlier, we signed him in May of his senior year of high school. He was the last kid we signed in that recruiting class, and he was starting on the weekends on the mound for us as a freshman. So. I'm hopeful that it'll slow down over time, and kids just change so much from 16 to 18 to 20. And Coach, I think you could tell a million stories of a kid that, his first semester as a freshman. After you watch him for 3 months, you think maybe he's overmatched or overwhelmed, and then that kid ends up figuring it out later in his career. So it's hard enough to know what they're going to be in December of your team. I mean, every year I go back at the end of the season and I look at the opening day starting lineup. Last year Tyler Gentry was in the 6-hole opening day. I mean, this guy's going to be second round draft pick here in 2 or 3 weeks. So you just never know how kids are going to develop, and the the later and closer to when you're actually playing, we're all going to have a better idea of what they can do.
Yep, that
actually happened to us in signing a junior college kid. I signed a couple of junior college kids who were very average as juniors, but as seniors, even that far up in their career, they really got good. That happens to you even when you, I don't know, I'm sure you don't go the junior college route. I don't guess you do, but it's even big as you go through college.
Yeah, and that's one thing as a coach I just remind myself, the kids are allowed to get better, whether it's to, physically get stronger, just to get comfortable in the game, to slow down. And sometimes that happens earlier in their career, sometimes it's later. We do some junior college recruiting, and the kind of adage we talk about, you get 1 year out of them in baseball, they come in and have a good year and they get drafted, or they come in and they're a little overwhelmed, or it's a little fast for them, and maybe they're a little disappointing that junior year, and then senior year they get comfortable and really perform. So, if you get 1 year out of them, then that's a positive.
Is it with shortstops and third basemen? Are you really trying to figure them out defensively? Not figure them out, but decide on defensively more than you are offensively. I know third basemen need to hit some home runs. I understand that. Shortstops usually don't. Talk about those two positions for our listeners.
Well, I'm a big defense guy. We set the school record for fielding percentage in 2019, and I think we would have broke it again this year. So I really believe in defense. And, the closer to home plate and being in the middle of the diamond, those are really defense first positions. So, I think when you put a team together, you want to have balance. And you could be a great defensive team, but if you can't score, then you're going to have a tough time winning, and you can have a bunch of donkeys out there that can't defend but can really hit. That's probably not going to work out too good either. So,
no.
I would love over time to really play two shortstops. If you can have a shortstop, skilled player to play third base on that left side of the infield, because you typically do see more right-handed hitters, and most hitters typically pull the ball on the ground. So I think it's just essential that you can defend at a high level at third base and shortstop, and if you have a hole at one of those two spots, it's going to be hard to win in the Southeastern Conference.
We're talking with Coach Brad Bohannon. Coach, the NCAA came out and they opened up the facilities for football, basketball, men's and women's, but you didn't hear anything about the other sports. I know you guys are probably anxious to get these guys back. What are the plans with these guys? What have you been currently doing with them? Is there any opportunity for these guys to play any summer ball right now, just to keep the competition going? Just talk about what's going to happen this summer.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything yet of when our kids will be able to access facilities. And I think the fact that the basketball teams and football are coming back soon is positive, and hopefully that'll go smoothly and go well, and then they'll transition some of the other sports. And I'm kind of in that viewpoint of, I think the sooner we get back, the better. I think kids are going to be safer working out of our facilities than they are out of community gyms. And our kids they've been forced to be creative. I mean, I've got some cool videos from our kids, trying to work out in the garage the last 6 weeks, and using different things around the house to create resistance. Playing summer baseball is a huge part of college baseball and a huge part of development. So there's all these college wood bat leagues around the country. A lot of them have been canceled, and there have been some leagues that have kind of popped up where kids are playing locally. So one of the issues is when these kids go play in these leagues, they live with host families, and there aren't a lot of families that are very comfortable having strange kids in their homes for 8 weeks or so. So I'm hopeful that some of these leagues will take off, and our kids will be able to play. You get better at baseball by playing baseball. And we can't really do anything with our guys right now. We keep in contact with them. We give them workout plans and try to stay connected with them and support them. But luckily we have a team of guys that are self-starters, and I think the majority of our guys have done as good of a job as you can to stay in shape and try to make some improvements right now, and hopefully we can all just get back to normal real soon.
Yeah, I've said that on the show, Dad, and I've actually argued about it. Not that he's argued my point, but I think they're safer here. You guys, you got the quality weight room. You can clean it properly. When these guys are in all these different areas, and you have no idea where they're going, where they're lifting. I think this environment here, where you guys can afford to do it, unfortunately, there's a lot of schools that can't, but Alabama can. Wouldn't this be a much safer environment to bring all these guys back and get them working here under y'all's supervision with the medical staff here?
Well, I think you make a lot of good points. I get where we fit, in the whole scheme of college athletics. And I think anybody that works in college athletics in any way, shape, or form would agree that it's just essential that we play football and basketball. We understand who generates the revenue, and anything that we can do collectively to make sure that happens, then that's the best thing for all of us. So, there's so much that goes into all of these decisions, and the people that are making those decisions have so much information that I don't have that, I certainly won't be judgmental. But I'm anxious for our kids to get back. I know selfishly, the more interaction, one, I just miss them, but the more that I can see them and touch them and keep my eyes on them and control some things, the better I feel. But I certainly understand, where we fit, and I think we all really want Alabama to be playing football this fall.
Well, Coach, we know you guys are busy. You got family responsibilities, taking the time to be on with us this morning. But just remember now, if you're having pitching problems, you just got through talking to a guy that coached a team that threw 2 no-hitters in one day. So if you need any help, you just get him out there, and great things can happen.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Hey, I tell Coach Jackson all the time, I'm like, hey, if we don't give up a run today, we got a pretty good chance to win. So
that's right.
Okay, guys, I appreciate it.
That's what I brought you in here for, not to give up any runs. If you do that, then we're not going to lose the game. So
that's right.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, y'all have a great day. Roll Tide.
Thank you.